Is this thing on?
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay.
The Coffee and Carving Show, brought to you by Doug and Alec. Today we're going to be talking about everything that interests us, wood carvers.
I don't know what that voice was.
You'd think they get better.
Well, you know.
Well, let's just give them what they came for.
The dad joke
A
of the
wha-
week.
A whale went to her doctor for her yearly checkup. When she got to the office, it was extremely busy and she was taken to her appointment very late. "I'm so sorry about your wait," said the doctor. "That's okay," said the whale. "I've always been this big."
Oh my goodness. I can't even venture to chuckle, except for how bad that is.
Well,
Wow.
our coffee today is brought to us by Jerome and Lana. And mine is in a thermos because, last time with Alec and his technical difficulties, I had drunken it all before the podcast. So she's piping hot.
There you go.
And it is from the French Maison de Maxwell.
Oh, good.
You know the Maison de Maxwell?
Yes, I'm very familiar. I've been there many times. Yes.
Yes, well, it's a decaf from the Maison de Maxwell.
Oh, good.
Which is
Yes.
very, very lame, but it's decaf.
Right.
We're recording at night, and I can't drink coffee at night no more. I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm out.
Really?
I've been up. Yep, it's really playing games with me.
Huh.
So, unfortunate. It must be my age. Old man can't drink caffeinated coffee after supper.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't like to drink a lot of coffee before too late. So I'm the same way.
What are you drinking?
This is Allegro. This is I think it's a medium roast Allegro. I guess it's like an Amazon deal. I've been drinking it for like the last 3 episodes.
Yes.
Truth be told, it too is a decaf. I'm a little embarrassed, but
this is made by the Sabbath company that you mentioned earlier. Then
no, this one is just so Allegro. I think is actually that's the maker. And
okay.
Yeah. So it's I don't know where it comes from, but it's good. It's the best decaf I've had, and it's a little expensive, but not too bad.
Well, that's what these people are just kicking in their coffee money just to get you the finest brands. Like, it's just straight from the grocery store.
Yeah. It's like $11 for, what is it? I don't know, like a couple pounds or something, pound and a half. That's not too bad, right?
Well, is it artisanal? Because that's going to be our topic, but we're going to talk about later.
That's true.
But anyway, what have you been up to?
This past week, buttoning up the sign, of course, I was mostly done, but clear coated it. And that was actually a bit of a to-do, or a bit of a thing because of to-do. It was very important. It was a big thing because the finish I use is it's called Epiphanes, and it's a boat spar urethane, and you have to dilute it. So I diluted the finish, and basically you start with a 25 or 30% dilution, and then you work to a bit thicker. But I started reading about it online, and folks were like, "No, you don't need to worry about any of that. Just basically, you can go thin with each coat, and so you just apply more coats." Yeah. So that's what I did.
You dilute it with mineral spirits just to get it to bite in the first coat or two, or
Yeah,
is that what the idea is?
Right. And yeah, that, and something about mineral spirits. It's mostly water, apparently, the cheaper mineral spirits. I'm learning from the internet, from my Google searches, or at least a high percentage of cheaper mineral spirits, they're water. And so the one that I purchased was made by the same company that made the finish, and they were, based on reviews, told to be the best, the most pure. It's actually pure mineral spirits. So kind of kind of important, I guess, to thinning it out. I've used other thinners with this finish before and it didn't work as well. So there's something to it.
Yep. No, hopefully it bites in. Nothing uglier than an outside peeling varnish on
Yeah.
a sign. Have you ever seen those old signs or
Oh,
the
yeah.
old ways? It just looks awful.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
I've used this
good.
one. I've used this one before on some chainsaw carvings, and it's awesome. In fact, it's used on a giant mahogany wooden carved sign in the near town, Rochester Hills, Michigan. Here, there's a massive carved sign, and yeah, it's done refinished with epiphanes. Actually, the people who refinished it are the ones who told me about it. So anyway, but that's basically it. As far as like big fun things, it's just been a couple of small carvings here and there. I did well, I shouldn't say that's it. I did a carving for the school, kept it uber simple, and just called Doug in a panic again, trying to decide what to carve, and decided to go with something like a wood spirit, which is something that if you know what I do, you're like, well, of course, he's probably done 1,000, and I hadn't really done any for the school, so like a front on simple wood spirit. So I did that, and that was fun. It's cute, and I actually, unlike last time I talked about a carving, I put up this one on auction, and it will be on my Facebook until 12:30 p.m. at the time of this release. So Friday, 12:30 p.m. So by the time you hear this, it might be over, but sorry. Anyway, that being said, basically worked on this video for the school, and I had my buddy in today, my young Padawan Carver, who is he helped me with the sign last week, and also this week sort of helped me around the shop a bit and did some carving himself. I'm looking at his carving up above us and the one he's been working on, and it's awesome. So
yeah, how fun that would be to get in as a young kid.
Yeah,
under a real carver. That would have been great for me. I wish I had done that.
Yeah, well, he's a talented, super talented young guy. He took first place with his little group, this group that he led, the 4 kids in the ice sculpture up north. So this past weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to butt in before you continue on, because I gotta say, when you said that you gave me a call looking for ideas for your school, it's not the first time you've done that.
No.
Probably on a monthly basis now, you call in a panic for your next project. But the problem is, I don't think even once you've ever taken a suggestion of mine.
No. Never
Never.
once. Oh no,
Never
that's not
once.
true. Well, here's the thing. You always have great ideas, and they always are like springboards to the idea I end up with, right? I don't usually do the thing you say, except for I can think of one instance. No. I was doing Good to Great, which is a total pirating off of Vic Hood, who is wrote a book, which the name I can't remember. I'll look it up a bit in the media portion and tell you. But basically taking a not so great carving and turning it into a good carving, or a great, excellent carving. And I wanted to. Oh, sorry about that. That was weird. And I wanted to do that, but I was going to start with a carving that was already kind of crappy. And Doug said, no, that one's too good. You have to make a beginner, like a real beginner carving. Like you have to make it not as good and then make it actually good. Right. So
yeah. That was just an insult to beginner carvers. this crappy carving, and it was like a masterpiece for a normal person. So anyway, yeah, no, I had to call you on that, because yeah, you always ask for ideas and never use them.
Well,
Never use them.
I did that.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was just
every once in a while, but it is every time. It is helpful. So
yeah, no, it's fun just to get the ball rolling, just to get your mind
yeah.
And yeah, because we start throwing ideas and you're like, well, I don't want to do that. What can I do now? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, but I see you there's some more shorter videos up on YouTube as well this week.
That's true. They're so incidental, I hardly remember them as activities during the day. But yeah, sometimes I'll do a wood carving tip. And so the last couple ones were related to carving the eye holes. Somebody said, hey, how do you carve the eyes, like the pupil and the iris? And so I showed people how to do that. And then the other one was just a little tip on hair, like basically telling people, try not sanding the hair. That's basically, those are the tips.
Yeah, no, I didn't see the hair one at all. Is that today?
Yep, that's today.
That's today. But yeah, I did see the eye one, and eyes, traditional, proper eyes. Not those crappy painted eyes. They were
No.
traditionally carved eyes.
No, what I'm doing is I'm showing people the lazy man's way of carving eyes. 2 holes. I'll leave the advanced painting techniques to you.
No,
honestly.
I think it was I think I took it the other way. That this is the proper way.
Oh yeah, right.
No, you know what? The truth is,
Yeah.
I have carvings here that I've tried to carve in the eyes, and I've actually gone back and put wood filler in them because I hated it so much.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
No,
just
it doesn't
don't pop enough to me unless you. So I got to learn to get those, get a little bit deeper. It's always like a skin dish, and then a hole in the middle, and I just got to learn to just get a sharper edge on the outer edge of the eyeball. But
Yeah. Right.
that's my problem. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm just, I have a hard time with motivating myself to paint anything. And when I have, I mean, I don't always like it either. So I think it's a practice thing, right? But
oh no, that's what we talked about last week too.
yeah.
The painting and the goofiness versus the art. And you're right. The traditional carving is carve the eyes. Like you can technically just wax the whole thing and you're done.
Right.
So I like that too. So
yeah.
But that's about it for your week.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, if I can't think of anything else, hockey has been a big like evening activity here because one of friends of mine has built a half-size hockey rink in his backyard. So that's basically the best part of winter to me, at least. So
yeah, I've been taking Willow down to the local conservation pond, and she's off skating around with her buddies and stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And this is my son borrowed my skates a few years ago, and I've never seen him since.
Oh, you need to get him back.
Looked high and low for them. Called him up. You got my skates? Oh, I don't got your skates. So I have to buy him new skates. But yeah, I haven't skated for a couple of years, so it'd be good to get back and make myself sore. You feel a burn in the back of your legs?
Oh, well, really? Yeah, it's that, and then it's also my back and like my neck, and we get competitive. The problem is I play hockey like maybe like 15 times a year or something like that. I don't know, maybe more or less. Maybe twice, 3 times a week during the winter season. So, but the guys that go out and play with us are all like, I mean, they're hitting it every day, every other day. It's like they're crazy good. So that's bad for me. But really, what it looks like,
being a man, we don't ease into anything either. It's like
no,
full bore right into it. And,
oh no, full. Yeah, I'm getting concussion. I'm getting concussed, and I'm like, people are concerned for me. I'm getting up, and my elbows don't work properly any longer. So, yeah, that's for sure. So, no, there's a level of competitive. You just lose all sense of like self-awareness, and you're screaming, and you just it's crazy. But
yeah, no, it's fun. Yeah. And we've finally, well, I'm happy for all these backyard dads this year because we've had nice cold snaps, and years past, freeze thaw, you never had, but now like the last couple 3 weeks has been like perfect ice on the ponds and the backyards and wherever you make your rink. And
it's true. Good. Yeah. So that's it. Tell me what's been up in your world.
Well, as you know, I told you I took some time off last week to trying to use up some holidays that I had left over from last year. And I think we talked after I did the Groot carving, but I had also edited and made a Groot painting video of me painting Groot after the carving video, just for those who are interested in that kind of a video of the painting. And boy, not many are interested. But on the same hand, so let me start right from the beginning. Everything we talked about last week, as far as changes go in direction, I have I'm the hypocrite of hypocrites from last week's episode, because
Yeah.
I think I've done just about everything I said I was going to try not to do, but it's okay.
Yeah.
After we talked and thought it through, and I mulled it over for a while, and I turned around and said, I'm really concentrating on the bark and the faces and the entertainment type videos and stuff. And then I turned right around and did a snowman basswood beginner tutorial because I thought, yeah, no, I don't have to focus on that. I can just a week here and a week there, or a couple days here, a couple days. It doesn't have, everything doesn't have to be all or nothing, you know, and I can go back and forth, but I don't have to do it all in the same week. I can just take my time, work on a project for beginners, work on something for myself. Like you said, always keep something for yourself in the background. And on the same hand, even a bark carving video, I don't have to film. I don't have to finish it. I don't have to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning to finish the video. I can do a little bit the next day.
Right.
Just keep the camera there. But
Yeah.
I always have this mentality that once I start something, I'm totally committed and got to stick with it and see it through to the end, but I don't have to. So anyway, I guess the truth of the matter is it was good just to talk about it and then think about it after the fact. And so that's what I did. So I actually made 2 snowmen, because the first one I didn't really like too much, but I made the snowman the one night just on my own.
Yeah.
And but then the tutorial was this fella here.
Yeah.
And
That's great.
of course this is audio, but I added external like mixed media. So like I have actual sticks for arms. I actually cut a piece of felt and made a scarf, and it's kind of fun. It's very simple, but I scalloped him with a gouge just to give him some texture. And no, it was a fun project, and I'm glad I did it. It was a nice
really
change.
cute carving. Yeah.
And yeah, people seem very appreciative that I gave them something to do. So, and there again too, truth be told, if I gave a tutorial every week, nobody would be able to keep up. They just get frustrated. So you don't have to do one every week.
Yep.
Just give them a project every once in a while, and yeah, get them going. So
Yep.
I did that. What else did I do? I did a live stream. Sophie and I did a live stream. On,
My first live stream, my first Doug Linker. I watched.
Oh yeah, you were. I heard your name. Oh yeah. Did you hear me making fun of you?
Mm-hmm.
Did I tease you? Good.
Yeah.
Good. I forget what we were talking about, but
I don't remember what you how you teased me, but I commented, right? I think I merited, unless there were more.
Well, that's the beauty. That's why I bring Sophie in, because I can't keep up the comments and just scrolling through, and I can't keep up. But
Right.
I think the only one of the times I remembered you, that we said the carving is not done until the cleanup is done.
Oh, I didn't catch that. So I did catch the whole thing.
No?
No.
Okay, so you popped in for a minute and said hi and left.
Well, I caught a good. What it was is I left church, and between the drive to church and breakfast, I listened. So 15 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But no, I said someone was asking how I keep my shop so clean or whatever, and I always said, I said, you're carving, like every carving I do, it's not done until I've cleaned everything up.
Yeah,
completely. Paint stuff, vacuum stuff, whatever, it's clean. And I said, right, Alec? That's what I said.
Yeah,
in the live stream. Alec can learn something. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
and
not.
Then
it's not good
and it's true, because Sophie piped in and said, yeah, that's right. The supper's not done until the dishes are done. So it's same idea.
I like that.
So, but
yeah, no,
so that was fun.
Yeah, good.
No, and what else did I do? Oh man, are you just whales? I've been trying to do this whale, and I have a whole whale boneyard. This isn't even all of them. I have a whole boneyard of throwaway whales, trying to come up with the perfect whale that you can do with just a knife. And the truth of the matter is, I kind of figured this morning, is you can't, unless you want to lay that tail down. I have such a glare on the camera here. You have to lay the tail down. You can't get that nice raised tail without a gouge or a bandsaw. So I don't know that I'm going to do it, but I'm definitely going to do a project and show it. But it's kind of fun that the whale that I did a couple weeks ago had that wire for the spray out of the blowhole. And then Sophie gave me the idea just to make a feather stick out
That's
of a
cool.
dowel. And I think
Yeah.
that's funner. I think
I
it's
like
more
that.
fun.
Yeah.
So there's that. So that's a work in progress. But then I did a green man again. I did a green man with fall colors. And that was fun. This guy here.
That's super cool. Oh man. Yeah.
And I painted the eyes green, but for the audio, I painted the leaves like fall colors. So I have a whole variety pack of colors in there. And I'm actually, I like how the painting turned out, but I'll tell you what I did do. I had them all finished. I took pictures. I put them on Instagram, and I kept looking at them the next day. And I was up early in the morning with my coffee and looking at them again. And I said, something's not right. So I recarved his whole face.
Are you serious?
Yep. I cut right through all the finish and sunk his cheeks down, give him his cheekbones up, and give more of a separation between the leaves. And there was a
Nice.
real,
Yep.
there was a real line there before. So I gave a real separation and sunk the cheeks in so that the leaves were forward or proud
Yep.
of the face. And
No, it looks
yeah.
good.
So it looks a lot better than it did after I thought I was good. And then I looked at it. And that's what happens sometimes, a lot of times.
Yeah.
You come back and say, something's not sitting right. So
Right.
I shouldn't be in such a hurry to finish them. That's the truth.
Well, no, I mean, no, there's something to that. Even if you're taking your time and stuff, you know, you can gain a lot from sitting away from, you know, looking at it from a distance or just taking a break and coming back to it. Like I do that with so many of my carvings that I can't even really keep them in the shop for a long time because let's just keep working on them.
Yeah. There's always something you can just kind of this little cut here, a little cut there. And,
Yeah.
Yep. But that's pretty much my week. Back to work again and trying to find time to do everything I want to do.
Yeah. And the whale thing is that's hilarious because just thinking I had a moment where, and I don't do this often, but I subtracted myself from the world of wood carving and from an outsider looking in. Of course, none of the listeners are outsiders looking in. They're one of us, right? They're coffee and carvers, but whatever we want to call them or whatever they call themselves. Email your suggestions for what you'd like to be called.
No.
Yeah, just like the sentence, I've got a graveyard of little whales is just it's an awesome sentence. I love it.
The old boneyard of
The bone,
whale
a whale yard. That is awesome. But
well, that's a thing up north where they harvest them, but we won't get into that. But,
oh yeah, right.
Yeah. But have you ever seen a whale carcass?
Never.
Oh my goodness! You know what you should do? Totally another aside.
Yeah.
And I can't find the video, but if I say it, the older folks may remember it. But a whale had beached itself and died. I think it was in California. A big whale. And they put dynamite in it because they didn't know they couldn't move it with anything at all, and they blew it up.
Yeah,
and it just the news reporters were following it, and it just rained blubber and meat on everybody that they put too much dynamite in it. It's got to be on YouTube somewhere. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. But it's hilarious. Just punch in whale or dynamite or blow up whale. It's amazing. See the just raining blubber pieces. Just
there's
little
one in
pieces
Florence,
on everything.
Oregon. I don't know if this is the one, but it's
is like a 70s feel to it.
Yeah,
that's probably the one. But
see how that
anyway, I just think that was so funny. Just raining down, and it's old too and stinky. That's why nobody wanted to cut it up because it was already aged in the sun.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's gross.
But switching gears from that, what's our topic today? Kind of discussed a little bit about the that meme that's going around, and I can't sing it because it's got some bad words in it. But the meme is something like, what is it? How's it go? So you're an artist?
Yeah.
And you want how much? And then they sing a little song. Well, it takes how's it go?
It takes so long because it takes me
a
freaking hours, basically.
yeah, hours and hours. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It costs so much because it takes me
yeah. That's
hours.
what it is. That's
Yeah.
how it goes. But yeah, not for children. But the idea of artisan and I think we've talked about selling before, but let's talk a bit about the value or the price of your time and the again, I kind of alluded to it last week with the goofy versus the art. Like the price points change, and they change from whether you're a beginner or if you're go towards the caricature or if you're the artist. And you just seem I've seen almost identical carvings. Some big guy puts it on Etsy for $75 and someone sells it as art for $475. And like, how do you even come to a conclusion of a price? Is it based on your experience or your time? Or as a job, do you keep track of your time as you do it? Or is it your name that bids the price up?
Right.
Name, experience, popularity, whatever it could be, right?
Right. Yeah. No. There's a lot there to unpack, but for me, as far as the
Yeah, go.
yeah. Well, so there's a fundamental unfortunate truth about art, and that is it is truly about who made it, not just what it is or how good it is, right?
Right.
Because Oprah, she draws a stick figure and it's worth, significantly more than if I made a beautiful little carving, right? Or whatever. So there is an inherent, quality about art that is, it matters who it was and the story of the individual who made the piece. And so I think that's important, but you really can't do anything about that other than get better at telling your story, get clearer and more concise, and telling people about how you are, who you are, and what drives you to make the art. Certainly for me, the last thing I'll say on that, doing the art show circuit was a teaching experience. I learned a lot, or a learning experience. It taught me a lot in that if I explained the story of a carving to an individual, it would often result in a sale. So I would just say, this carving, was, based on this character. My dad, sat in for a little while, post for it, whatever. Just explain the reality of whatever it was that happened with the carving. And, people really appreciated that. And then they became interested in the carving and they wanted it. So for whatever reason, I think it's that, one of the reasons people buy art, at least one of the reasons I buy art, is because I want people to come into my space, see something and go, man, that is really cool. And then I get to explain to them, about the art, about the artist, and why I liked it and how I met them. And so it gives people an opportunity to, it's a conversation starter. I think that's a very important part about what makes art significant, is it opens up conversation. So no, so as far as whether or not the art is more or less valuable based on the amount of time you put into it, I think that's a very common farce. I think pricing based on time invested is really bad, because you can over involve yourself in a carving and get significantly less hourly if
Right.
you're if you're, well, let's put it this way: if you spend 12 hours on a carving and it's worth $100, your valuation's pretty low, your hourly rate's pretty low, under 10, right? So an hour. So and you have to base the value of the carving on the finished product, as far as I'm concerned. So I always evaluate a carving once it's finished in an objective way. It's the best way I can do that is send pictures of my carvings to other people who I trust to price things, and I let them decide, because I'm horrible at deciding the value of a piece. It's impossible for me to decide. So I often consult with other people, and based on those consultations, I kind of create like a grid for myself, and I say, okay, well, this sort of carving is worth this much, this sort of carving is worth this much. And so Yeah, it's always good to confer with other people, even people who aren't, experts. What do you think this is worth to you? Like, especially people who shoot straight with you. You want to talk to
Yeah.
your family. You don't want to talk to your friends who are trying to be nice to you.
No, yeah, because when you talk to people, like people think that you carve something, you spend 4 or 5 hours on it, and someone says, depending where you are,
Mhm.
I'll give you $20 for that. Oh yeah, would you work half a day for $20?
Right.
So it's gotta there's some give and take. So it's the same idea. And when you do price your stuff, do you like you put the price on it, and that's your price. Whereas it's the same idea in construction. When if I said, hey, if you ask me, "Hey, can you come and drywall?" Yeah, I'll do that. That's I'll give you a deal. I'll give you $15 an hour, and I'm not sure how long. It'll probably take me about 8 hours, whatever. That's $400.
Yeah.
But if we didn't talk about hours, whatever, if I walked into your house and said that I'll do that, $750, you'd be more inclined to say okay than you would knowing I was going to make $50 an hour. The finished price is always sweeter to the homeowner because there's no there's no question, right?
Right.
But your time is worth more money if you price it accordingly. So
Correct. Yeah.
this is the game, and I feel bad. I see it. So when you're starting out, what advice would you give somebody? Because I see a lot of people even doing my little beginner carvings, and then trying to turn it into a living immediately and lowballing it on Etsy for peanuts. Does that lower the
Yeah.
value of everybody's art, or do you just stand firm in who you are and what you believe your stuff is worth?
Yeah. I don't know. I have all I can say is when I started doing this, I was 12 years old and I sold my first carvings when I was 13. And so I
That's
was
not normal. It's not
tickled
normal.
pink to make $25 or $30
Mhm.
on a carving. And I did do that. And, my carvings were probably worth it. They're probably worth $25, but not much more. Well, to be honest, I think it was like $15 to $25. I think the Mac Daddy carving I had there was all the wood spirits, 3 different woods, whatever it was. Maybe it was like $35. So it might have been worth that, but who knows? Like the idea of growing into yourself as an artist, I think also extends into your pricing. So I think you do kind of grow into a higher price point.
Yeah.
And so granted, you'll know, I think it's an internal knowing, that sounds new agey, but there really is this sort of, for me at least, there was a sense, okay, it's been about a year. I think I could sell these. I think I could see myself giving someone this and not feeling totally embarrassed.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the threshold that it wasn't even a financial one. It was just like, man, I would be so appalled if someone had bought this and put this in their house. And as soon as I stopped feeling that way, I sold.
Yeah. Well, you understand all these conversations that we have. This is just my therapy, right? this is trying to get me into the world, because I always said, like, I'm not even gonna go to the post office for $50. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not if I'm gonna sell, we'll do it right, but I'm not gonna start off and just hope for sales.
Yeah.
No, I know I can sell my stuff. It's just about I don't want to underprice it and make it not worthwhile, and it becomes a real chore. I'd rather do something even like bigger than smaller for sales sake, right? But
yeah, so I would just eyeball it and say, what is that worth to me? The thing that Vic Hood always says is, like, when he prices something, he asks himself if he'd rather have the money or have the carving. It's that simple, if he'd rather have if somebody says, I'll give you $2,500 for that carving, he just looks at it and he says, would I rather have $2,500? Would I rather have that carving? You know what? I'd rather have that carving, and he'd keep it in that case. So just a balance. That's all.
Yeah. You don't seem to have that curse, eh? You have I guess you've made so many. You have no issue letting things go anymore.
I sometimes wonder if it's like I don't know. Well, there's two thoughts that run through my head just now. One I'm a little bit embarrassed of, and I'll share that one last. But the first one is, maybe I'm just so used to this. I've sold carvings for so long, I don't get attached,
Yeah.
It's like it's like I have the emotional attachment of to the carvings that like a real player has in the field, like to all the people he's playing or whatever. Like I can't I can't I can't have attachment, and I can't allow myself to have too much attachment. But the other darker reality, or a darker possibility, is that I don't actually like my work enough to want to keep it. So I don't know which of those is true. It's probably a combination of both, but yeah, I don't ever look at something and go, I can't say that. There have been a handful of carvings where I'm like, man, I really don't want to sell that, so
you don't decorate your house with your own carvings.
dude, there'd be no worse curse for me than to have my art like in the house again. It was just, it'd be like you'd constantly be like trying to recarve it again.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Most of my stuff is in my carving room,
Yeah,
sprinkled all over.
Yeah.
But Sophie enjoys the seasonal changes because she just comes in here and just plucks a dozen different things, Christmas,
Yep.
Easter, or in the fall, pumpkins, and she just changed, and then she'll put them back and she'll
That's
take
cute.
something else, and yeah, it's kind of cute. But
That's sweet. No, I mean, if you can, I guess you have to get over yourself or something. I don't know. I'm not good at it. I don't.
Yeah, I guess it's always been like when I used to give bills to people too, it's always like the shaky hand syndrome.
Yeah.
When, here's your bill.
Yeah.
Hope it's okay. But
Yeah.
no, it's confidence. Again, we talked about that last week too. It's you just gotta be confident in your work, and be proud enough to stand on it, and put a price that you can live with.
Yeah. Yep. That's the truth. And I've talked about this before here, but it's called a Dutch auction. It's kind of helpful. Is when people start pricing, I often suggest that they start high and then work low. This was not again, I told the story about how I got started as a kid and eventually my pricing increased. But once I hit a point where I was comfortable selling my art, I didn't know what my ceiling was. I was being told, I think it was mostly just people trying to be nice, complimenting me. You're not selling this for enough. This at a gallery would go for this, So eventually I heard it enough though, that I felt like, I don't think this is a compliment. I think this might actually be some critical feedback. And so I thought, well, what am I going to do? So I just set a few things, relatively high. And someone next to me at an art show said, a business marketing artist, a major in business marketing, major in college artist said, hey, you need to have one or two pieces that are just like really up there, really hot, like high pricing. Doesn't even have to make sense. He's like, put like a $1,000 price tag and just one, anyone like this one. He picked out like maybe like a wood spirit with like a lot of hair, really big, $1,000. So I never did that. Years later, I eventually decided to try it. And sure enough, that carving did sell. It was discounted. Someone said, you know what? I only have, 600 for that. I'm like, no, I can't. No, sorry, 700 or take it or leave it, And so what that taught me was a good way of finding out, what your art is worth is by pricing it very high and then reducing it. So what I would do is if it was a 5-day show, I'd set all of my prices 40%, 30% higher. And then I would decrease them as the weekend went on, for the same reason that a store discounts something, because it's been there for a while and you can't afford to leave without selling it.
Yeah. And it's a whole idea.
But
go ahead.
You don't continue to do that every show. For instance, I now don't, I don't, for people who are thinking like, if I have a show that they should come late, that's not the case. Like I don't do that any longer because I figured out my price points. But anyway, you're saying.
Well, no, I was just saying it's the idea of work smarter, not harder. You want to sell more carvings, or you want to sell work half as hard and sell half as many carvings and make the same money, right?
Right.
Like it's always, everybody runs around undercutting. I know this is back to construction talk, but people can't maintain it. They go around, run around, undercut, get all the jobs. And then they quit because they can't do it. Because it's too much, too busy. So I like that.
For sure, I've been there.
But so I guess, and you know what, the truth is, if people are shopping for art, they're not dumb.
Mhm.
You know, it's the friends and family that are like, what?
Yep.
You want what? I said, yeah, I spent a whole day on that.
Right.
A day and an evening, you know, but people don't understand the time that it takes to hand make something.
Yeah.
And like your coffee is a smaller roaster.
Mhm.
They've got their own equipment. They got to pay, and you know, and they do it their way. And it's their art is their coffee roasting, and that's different than big Maison de Maxwell, old Maxwell House. They just churn it out like by the truckload, right? So
Yeah, I guess that's true. It is true for sure. No. But yeah, and that's really it too, is that oak thing. Remember seeing things on eBay? Whenever you see like Carver sell things on eBay, they'd write oak, one of a kind.
yeah,
I never knew what oak meant when I was little.
No?
When I was like a 13 or 14-year-old kid following like Nancy Tuttle and all these people on eBay posting stuff. I was like, this one, they're all made of oak. That's crazy. It's so hard. Like,
It doesn't look like oak.
why does she
Why would they
spell it with
paint?
2 O's?
Why would they paint oak?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. But
well,
yeah.
do we beat that one to death?
Oh yeah. I mean, we could talk about it for hours, but
Well, I think it kind of ties. I think we had one earlier that was like to sell or not to sell. And I think they all kind of blend together. But like I said, this is just my open therapy that we'll get there one day.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. My favorite takeaway is that point what you said about would I rather have this carving or would I rather have $200? You know, it's like,
Right.
well, put it on the wall.
Yeah.
Because you know the truth is, it's still gonna be worth the same money in 2 years.
Yeah. Yep.
So when I'm dead, they can just peel the walls clean and auction it all off, and
There you go.
it's a savings account. For
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it time? Mailbag. I never know what you're gonna do. You do the same tune, but you stop shorter or you go longer or you.
Mailbag. Brought to you by Coffee and Carving.
I like the guitar edition. I like the opening.
Yeah, good.
Send Alec an email if you appreciate his opening tune.
No. All right.
So yes, we're hitting the mailbag. Quite a mailbag this week, and like I said earlier, big thanks to those who bought us a coffee. It's very much appreciated. And if you have questions or comments, you can always send them to just coffee and carving show at gmail.com. And if you forget what I just said, it's in the description of the video on YouTube.
That's right.
So what do you got for us this week?
Man, we've got a lot here. A lot of nice comments, a few dad jokes. Gene is saying some kind things. He loves the show. Keep it going. He's decided to start carving and signed up for a class with me. No, wait, January 19th. Doge. That's old.
Well, we kept because of your inability.
Oh, did I miss it?
Yeah, we missed a couple last week, and I said I wouldn't get rid of them until.
I was going to say I don't remember this one, but maybe I just read it and forgot. Okay,
you have to hit the primary emails, and then you get them.
Yeah. So his question is: lots of YouTubers use social media to advertise each new video to grow their channel. I noticed that neither of you do that. Doug isn't even on Facebook. Why don't you use social media to your advantage? Thanks for what both of you do. Keep it up.
Well, that's a great question. The only outside of YouTube, I'm only on Instagram, and even that I waffle back and forth if I even need to be on there.
Right.
For me, my focus is YouTube. Right. That is my main focus, my main goal. The thing I want to grow. Instagram, I don't even know how many people follow me on Instagram, because it does not. I find the Instagram does not translate to YouTube views. That's just it's pictures. It's, I mean, some, of course, some follow me both ways, but I do not find that it crosses over enough. If my focus is YouTube making videos, and I have to focus on something because I cannot be scatterbrained and be in 10 different social medias. And like I think I mentioned last week too, how sick I feel when I'm rushing to have a shower, get to work 7 o'clock in the morning, and I open my email. I got 38 emails, and I imagine adding Facebook to that, or adding another social media. Like, it's just, everybody would hate me because I don't answer emails very well because I don't have time. And Facebook, when I was on Facebook early in Facebook, and I learned to get out of there. That said, it's not that I may never be on Facebook, but I may be on Facebook and have it managed at some point in my future. But the truth is, my videos do have a presence on Facebook because a lot of people embed them on their Facebook pages.
Yeah.
And it gets out that way. So
Right.
but
Yep.
for me, the sole reason is my bread and butter is making videos on YouTube, and not just, everything else.
Yeah.
How about you?
As far as using it to promote the podcast, neither of us do that because we just haven't gotten to it. It's possible that the podcast will merit that. We're just enjoying it for now. The actual, the emails and the podcast itself, and so that's that. And really, I think the whole point of this is to have fun, and so both of us have our own social medias, with Instagram, and so I don't think either of us want a bunch of extra things to have to do regarding the podcast that aren't really just the meat of it, which is to have these fun conversations and interact with you guys. And it'll probably get to that point eventually. It might. So but yeah, do you agree with that?
I agree with that. We
Cool.
talked about an Instagram account, and like we said, what are we gonna do? We're gonna post the thumbnail of every week's video, and that's it. All right.
Right. Yeah.
Because we both have our own social media to give updates if we want to give updates.
Yeah.
So,
And we do.
I mean, if you follow the podcast, you probably already follow us personally. So yeah,
Exactly.
we're not we don't live in the same house.
Right.
So thank goodness. But
yeah. Can I get a hallelujah?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yeah.
Jimmy says, well, he has a dad joke here. I kind of don't know if you want to use this next time around, or should I read it?
Just read it.
Why did the pirate become a doctor?
This is I know where you're headed with this one.
Yeah, he wanted to.
It's got to have an R. It's got to have an R.
He wanted to work at the ERG.
Okay.
ERG. There's no G in that.
Now I know how people feel when I say a joke. Just pure disappointment.
ER. That's bad.
Does he have a question?
Do either of you recommend a portable carving stand for Cottonwood? Yeah, I do. I have a great stand that's made by Rockwell is the maker, and the brand is Jaw Horse, and they should sponsor us because I've told a lot of people about them.
I have the same one. There's a couple green legs.
Yep. Well, they have ones with green legs. This one's gray, but
yeah, mine. Yeah, I have one. There's a few different kinds, and I waffled which one to buy. But yeah, I like the Jaw Horse is great. Now, mind you, if you remember my little bench top, I've got a heavy duty basswood setup that I put in the Jaw Horse.
Okay.
So how do you set up the bark in your Jaw Horse?
Yeah. Well, I literally have a piece of 2x4 shaped in the form of an A, and I clamp that in the jaws of the horse. And then I mount the backboard with the barking on it. I use the spring clamps for that.
Yeah.
So I use the smaller horse's jaws, also known as 2-inch spring clamps. But
yeah. So yeah, mine's basically the same. Only mine's probably a heck of a lot heavier.
Yep. Hey Digby and Albert, this is from Rodri.
There you go.
Bought you guys some coffees, but didn't realize I was supposed to leave my message while filling out the form over there. Oops. Just wanted to thank you both for the show and for keeping me company once a week while I listen at work. I was wondering if either of you have ever turned wood. I recently got a lathe and I'm hoping to make some bowls just as a little side hustle. Cool. Thanks again, both.
Well, thank you for the coffee. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't put your name down, we don't know really where it comes from. So appreciate it. Wood turning. I have a lathe.
Uh-huh.
I don't do as much as I should, but as with absolutely everything in my life, it's a path I can't go dive into whole hog. And I love the idea of being a wood turner. In fact, I watch a lot of wood turners videos.
Yeah.
And just love seeing how things come to shape on the lathe. But for now, I'm more of a hobby turner, and I don't I just use carbide tools. I haven't got into the sharpening systems and whatnot for your high-speed steel tools, but I do like the simplicity of the carbide tools and the tips that you just change. But yeah, for now it's just a hobby, and it probably will be for quite a while. But it's nice to have, just to add. I've turned things just to add to little crafts too, just little pieces here and there. So I'm not a great bowl turner, but I've got some stuff around the house.
Yeah. And for me, yeah, I actually started out turning before I was carving. So my dad bought a lathe, and that was probably, now that I think of it, it could have been one of the reasons I got into working with wood and doing wood carving. So yeah. But
I have a story.
I made my first ever video was my how to make a salt and pepper shaker on the lathe from an ash log. So from log to salt and pepper shaker.
I have a quick story about wood turning.
11.
When I was in high school for the 2 years that I attended, I took woodworking, and we turned, and I was making my mother a pedestal plant stand. And we had to have the buddy system in high school on the lathe, because they're big lathes. I was turning a 3-foot piece, and the buddy was responsible for locking it in, and he didn't.
Oh.
And I got that thing right in the noggin.
Oh, yep. Oh.
Flew off, whacked me right square in the head. And the beauty was I wasn't really hurt, but I had to take a trip to the nurses station, which I never made it to, and me and my buddy just buggered off the rest of the class.
Yep.
When it goofed off in the cafeteria. So
yeah.
But that will make you lathe shy pretty quick as a kid. When something flies off and whacks you in the head like a baseball bat.
Yeah, no kidding. Damien has one for us. He says, how do you cut an Italian pizza? Or no, how does an Italian cut his pizza?
Oh no. How does Italian cut?
With Little Caesars. Little
Caesars.
That's
little
a pizza.
Scissors, Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Is this what it's become?
This is my you scoff, but this is my favorite dad joke of all of them. I told this one immediately to my dad and friend when I was
no.
Love the show. Keep up the great work. Look forward to them every week. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Damien in Tennessee. Wow, there's a lot here. A termite walks into a tavern and asks, "Is the bartender here?" Okay, so I didn't get this one. My dad or friend had to tell me. No, it was Annalise, my girlfriend, explained to me this one.
Explain to me then.
Is the bartender here? So the termite wants to eat the bar. So is it tender? Is the bartender?
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic.
It is good, but it's almost so cryptic for me. If I had read it differently. Yeah, that's good.
No, I didn't get that at all, but that okay, no, that's actually great.
Yeah, for sure.
The bartender here. Yeah, that's good. That's good now, because I don't get that. I didn't get it at first.
Mark again, or Mark the Boater, as he titles this email. He asked us, amongst some other ideas, he asked if we've ever thought about producing our own tools.
Oh, I addressed this in my live stream. Somebody asked me the same question. And if Mark watched that live stream, he'd know my feelings pretty quick. No, on my end.
Yeah.
I know who I am. And I know, like, I always wanted to set up a little blacksmithing shop.
Yeah.
I always wanted to buy one of those KMG big belt grinders. And I just know it's just another, you guys are going to see a theme when you ask questions about different areas of things. Everything is a rabbit hole. And if you start, my tendency is to go all in, and I have to avoid it like the plague. The closest I ever got to making anything was I used to make stuff with railroad spikes.
Yeah.
And hammer them out and sharpen them. But otherwise, no, I've avoided it. And I always tease people who even think about dabbling in it. I said, you're going to have a KMG grinder within 6 months. And most of them do. But you, on the other hand, ever thought of bringing any tools to light?
Yeah. Well, Doug jokes because for the past 2 years I've been working on making tools, and still hasn't come to fruition yet. But I guess the update with that is I have the trade that I did with my my designer buddy, engineer buddy, is I'll make him a couple of carvings if he designs these initial tools for me with my help. So I kind of drew them out, basically gave him the parameters, and he's drawn, basically gotten one solid idea of what the handle structure is going to look like and everything. And so, yeah, there's been a back and forth between us, but yeah, the good news is they're very, I'm very confident in the design, and I'm excited to produce them. They're kind of a little bit of a unique take on, they're actually a pretty unique take on carving tools. So it's a more expensive way of producing them, but the question now is, are we going to end up producing them? Where are we going to end up producing them? So we don't know yet, but yeah, news to come with that. That'll be awesome. I'm excited. So
are you going to, if you get those made, are you going to give me all the tools on your wall?
Yes.
Because if you have your own line of tools, that you can no longer use others.
Yeah. I'm truly excited about using these tools. So I hope that they can take the place of everything that I use. And if they don't, then I won't sell them anymore if they're not any good. So
no, that sounds fun.
But yeah, the partnership is with Wesson, which is a knife company that, I don't know, I'm sure some folks who are listening are familiar with. So they're the ones helping me through this. My buddy, they're at Wesson, the head of their company. So, okay. So this is from Randall. He wants to know if there's a reason that we both have our magnetic strips placed differently. Oh, I'm sorry, the tools on the magnetic strips differently. Is there a reason you both have them that way? I think having them down creates an issue. If they fall, the tip is more likely to be damaged. However, if they're pointed up, I think they pose more of a danger to cutting oneself. Is it a preference, or is there some secret I've not discovered?
I'm looking at mine, trying to, it's very astute to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put mine down. Why do I put mine down? I put mine down because I like to set the edge of the tool on the magnet so that they will never fall.
Right. Yep, I see what you're saying.
Right. I have all the edges on the edge of the magnet, so that's a little extra little stop step. And you guys away. You speak?
Oh yeah.
Do we lose Alec?
Oh yeah, you had a little bit of a connection error, but yeah, no, for me, I did it that way because it's easier for me to see the tool profiles. And most of the tools that I'm using are old. They're very, very old tools, like 150 years, sometimes 200 years old. So they're not marked like with an indication of the size and shape on the handle. They're marked on the actual steel. So it's easier to see the marking, and it's also easier to see the profile. So that's my
for me, I think also,
yeah.
I think I just like grabbing the handle on top.
Yeah.
That's how I think that it's easier for me. Maybe I'm taller and they're a little bit lower, so I like to grab the handle. We've lost Alec. Alec has left the chat.
He's here. He just wanted to grab something.
Okay.
So next we have, and as far as like the dropping tools thing, I actually don't worry too much about dropping tools. The biggest thing to worry about is catching a dropping tool. You never want to try and catch a falling tool. That's a mistake. So, but otherwise, my floors are wood. I think yours are wood or carpet or something, right? So you're not going to damage a tool if they fall.
Well, I have a shelf below mine now that it will catch them before it hits the floor. So
yeah. So there you go. Okay. So Ed, my wife threw me out of the house. No, that's a joke. She threw my wood out of the house. It's been banished to the shed outside for carving and whittling. Apparently, the little moths flying around in the basement are from some wood that I brought inside to dry. I didn't make the connection until y'all pointed that out in episode 19. She did not find it as funny as I did. The cats do enjoy hunting the moths, though, so it's half a win. No? Any tips for turning my outdoor shed into a carving studio? I can see Doug carves in his house, and Alec has a nifty little heater, but it looks like you both carve inside of the house. Also, what the heck is that massive shovel Doug is using as a gouge in the Groot video? Y'all said you use small bladed knives, but those gouges and chisels are in all caps huge.
Yep.
Personally, I like watching the evolution of Doug's carving from a beginner-friendly piece to a more advanced carving piece. Don't apologize to the complainers. Charge forward, raise your game. Either the rest will follow or they won't.
Nice.
He's
Thank
also,
you.
yep. So he's talking about his carving station. It's been slow going because his job eats his free time, but it's about 9 degrees, 12 degrees Celsius lately, and there's no electricity in the shed. The walls are insulated to keep warm. I have an electric heater running off an extension cord. I was looking into the little stove that Doug mentioned a few episodes back, but zoning ordinance might keep that from being a reality. Dang, this got long. Keep up the good work. Doug, you answer that while I grab this.
Yeah. Well, what you got to do is in the wintertime is go grab your wood out of the shed, bring it in the house. That's half yours. And take a stand and take back your house. I'm just kidding. This is the worst advice ever. But
he's getting in so much trouble if he does that.
Yeah, he's already got his wood thrown out. But I wouldn't, the heater. So I mentioned this a while back too when we talked about care of your tools and stuff. I don't like the idea of your tools getting cold and then warming them up. Warm, cold, warm, cold. That's when you're going to get that. So if you're going to heat that shed, you got to keep it above freezing at all times.
Yeah.
So like the little wood stove, it will never do that. So you can't just heat up when you're in there. You got to keep it a good temperature just so you don't get everything sweating. Steel sweats when it's cold and it gets warmed up, and then you get the rust.
Yeah.
And it's very bad.
Very bad.
So as far as setting up the shed, you're gonna have to insulate it well and get some kind of a heater, like Alec. Like you said, it's not an expensive heater, and just keep it above freezing. You can turn the heat up when you're in there, but
right,
you just don't want to. You don't want that freeze thaw. That's my number one advice. After just go carve in the kitchen.
Well, Ed should be excited to hear this because if he doesn't end up taking over the kitchen, he can use the shed because I am carving in a shed. I'm actually carving outdoor out of my home. I built a 12 by 16. Really, it's a shed, but it's really it's got 8 foot. Well, really, it's a vaulted ceiling. I think it's probably 12 foot to the peak. Let's see, 8 foot. Yeah, probably around there, 12 foot to the peak. So it's actually a pretty substantial little building, but it's about the size of a sunroom with a little skylight. And so The way I insulated it was I just used standard floor and ceiling insulation, and then I insulated the walls, and it stays warm. I use of course, when it gets really cold, I have to bring in 2 heaters. So I have a radiant oil heater, and then I recommend this one. This is a Heat Storm. It's their kind of mid-sized wall hanging unit. I think it's called the 2000, but it's $100 right now on sale. It might be $130 by the time you see this, but it plugs into the wall. It's infrared, so it heats the objects instead of the environment, the air. And it's so far it's really excellent. It has a built-in thermostat. It connects to your phone via Wi-Fi.
For the audio guys, it looks like to me it looks like a hotel heater.
Yeah,
little wall hotel heater. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's that right there. Anyway, so Ed, as long as it's properly insulated, you shouldn't need a ton of. You might need to bring a second, heater. But yeah, those oil-filled heaters I've had, good luck with most of the last 3 years I've worked in this space. So, and he has another email about haircuts. He says about the $40 haircuts. I occasionally get my hair cut at an expensive barber. You pay the money for the haircut as well as the ambiance. Yeah, I know it sounds corny, but they spend a full hour making sure your hair is perfect, not just even. The difference between going to an expensive barbershop and a cheap $12 unisex salon to get your hair cut is night and day. It's like going to a fancy burger place and eating fast food. It's like going to a fancy burger place or going to a fast food place to grab a hamburger. Both places serve you a burger. The fancy burger usually has the better burger. Fancy burger place has a better burger. So he likes his local barber, but when he's going for a fancy event or something, he'll get a nice haircut. So he's also the final question from Ed is he's thinking about pirating his wife's fancy camera gear and playing around with some little video projects. What editing software do you recommend or do you use?
Oh, what I use and what I recommend are 2 different things. I use something called CyberLink Power Director, and I think it's like version 19 by now, but I do not recommend it. I am a simple man, and I learned how to use this 5 years ago, and I'm too afraid to change. By 100% chance, everything else is better. So, like, even the free iTunes is probably as good.
Yeah.
But I like my editing is so basic. You're not seeing any big flash bombs or smoke or nothing in my videos. So it's simple, it's easy. I know how to do it, and I'm gonna stick with it as long as I can until I do have to upgrade my computer soon. And I'm so scared I have to change editing software because I'll probably go to Apple product.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, that's the right move. Just keep things simple as far as that's concerned. But and I just use Final Cut Pro. So that's just So that's that. I think we made it through.
You got all the good. You got all the questions this week?
I think at least I think so.
Okay. Well, that's great. We're running long. So
listening to anything,
buddy?
Media?
No.
Featured artist. That's right. The featured artist segment. The segment that Alec forgets once a week, every week.
Nice little interlude, a little break. You know what? I picked one, and I thought, have we talked about him? So I picked another one. So I'm going to give you 2.
Yeah,
I'm giving you 2 that the one can be interchangeable between artist and media as well. But I'm giving you 2 because I'm not sure. Have we talked? We've talked about him before, but I'm a fan of Muggsy Logan.
Yes.
You know Muggsy Logan?
Oh yeah.
Like he's a fantastic carver.
Yep.
But being winter, it kind of excites me too. Is he's a snow sculptor.
Oh, really?
And he's got some. I look at his pictures and stuff, and it's amazing. It's so
That's
fun.
cool.
So he's not only a wood carver, he's a snow sculptor, and I can see how, they kind of work hand in hand a little bit. That he can kind of translate wood to snow or whatever. It's the same
Yeah.
idea of removing your, But no, big fan of Muggsy Logan.
Yeah.
And then I thought, because I wasn't sure if I had mentioned him before, but my other one, which could also be in media, but my other artist of the week is Bobby Duke.
Hey.
Bobby Duke art he's on YouTube.
Does he have anything out recently?
This is what I was watching, because I have a little fascination with epoxy lately. But he just made there was a whole bunch of the YouTube art community got together, and they did one piece of artwork, but each artist just did one section of this painting. And I maybe, let's say 14 people created this one piece of art. So Bobby Duke got the job of making the frame for the art, and he just went so far over the top. It's amazing. So he's got his 2 parts, and yesterday he just came out with part 2 of him finishing it, and it's pretty cool. And he's such a goofball. He makes it entertaining.
Yeah, he really does.
Not a dry old boring video of mine. It's very quick and lively and goofy, and he's a goofball. So I'm giving you 2 this week.
I like it. Well, mine, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. And it's a musical artist who I've gotten back into recently. And I know I'm kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, though, like the what you've been listening to and the featured artist page or segment. But it's his Instagram is Jaff Ryder. Not sure why. GAPH Ryder, RIDER, and his actual name, his artist name is Tyson, like Tyson chicken, and then it's Motzenbacher, MOTSEN BOCK.
A lot of names here.
I know, the German, I'm guessing German name, Motzenbacher. Anyway, he is a really neat songwriter, and I just love the way that he communicates a thought and kind of thinks outside of the box. So if you are you're like a singer-songwriter kind of person, you really like that sort of art form, then check him out, Tyson Motzenbacher. His last record was really good. He's actually going on tour with John Foreman of Switchfoot. So yeah, I've been just listening to him nonstop this last couple weeks. So that's mine.
Nice. On the media end, you're tying those 2 together with the one.
That'll be my twofer there. Yeah, he's definitely
twofer
for sure. And then I'll say after you're
Go
done, I'll have one more thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Your media.
Well, I again didn't watch much of anything, but I did sit down and again, this could be artist or media as well. Maybe we just need to combine these.
Yeah.
At some point, because my guy is Kevin Coates, Canadian out east wood carver, and I just love watching him carve. He takes a very for the videos at least, a very minimalist approach. No nonsense. You've never heard him speak a word, and he just carves these little characters, more seamen, forestry type guys, and fishermen. I think his first trade, I believe I read somewhere that he was a offshore fisherman until that whole business dried up out there.
I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, and turned his sights to wood carving. So a lot of these longshoreman type characters and lumberjack type people, and I really enjoy his carvings. And I don't watch a lot of wood carvers, but I can just sit and just zone out and watch him carve. You know what I really like about watching wood carvers, and maybe people feel the same way watching mine, but trying to anticipate where they're going next or what cut, it's kind of, it's fun. And I especially like him because he doesn't talk, and that's my favorite kind of video.
Right. So is that why you're always telling me to stop talking?
Just shut up once in a while.
Just kidding. No. The humor is that it's that dad joke level right now. But the other thing I was gonna say is I got this stupid. I made a dumb decision and I bought an Apple Watch, and so a lot of the media time that I've had is sucked up in trying to learn this new way that I can interact with, because I'm not already addicted enough to technology. So that's what I've been doing, is like learning how to use it. So
Well, at your age, you've held off a lot longer than many, right? I bet you all your friends have one, right?
right, no, for sure, yeah, a lot of them do. But I'm 27 years old. My first one. I always vowed not to, but what they did is they had this gateway drug of a piece of technology called a Fitbit. And I loved watching when I woke up how, long I slept for, and seeing how deep the sleep was. And I got excited if I got to bed early because I'd have a good score. And then, eventually that thing broke. So I'm like, do I buy another one of those, which has a $10 a month tag fee to it, or do I just buy an Apple Watch where it's one and done? I'm sure there are other options, but I painted those as my two options, and I got the more fancy thing. So that's that.
I would rather smash my face into a brick wall than have something giving me media input on my wrist.
Right.
I just had a thought, and I think you've made a mistake.
Oh yeah,
I was thinking about our questions here, and I think there was a question, because I remember from Ripper T Shreds.
I did miss another one.
You missed her.
He's on top of it. How about you get it this time?
I got it. Because what I liked the most about this was it's to Spruce Willis and Matthew Mahogany.
That's awesome.
But I'll go down the question here. But I want to talk about this this person, because I have been interacting with this person for a few years. I know the name, and talk about prejudiced idea. Ripper T Shreds, that I've been going back and forth with, is a woman.
Called it. I
It's
really thought she was a woman.
Yeah, but I mean, she's got some great interest, and married with 2 kids, and roller derby girl. So yeah, she's not your ordinary woman. We can say that. That's safe to say. But
yeah, cool.
Motorcyclist. Yep. So anyway, there was a question. Oh, well, I guess the question was for me. That's why it stuck out to me. The question was, do you think any of your bushcrafting knowledge was transferable into your carvings? Or could a city slicker with no knife smarts adopt carving skill just as easily? I think that perhaps the knife handling, for sure, and the knife sharpening, that gave me a head start. But as far as the actual processing of the wood, and maybe it made me less cautious. But no, I don't think, other than the knife sharpening, it didn't really translate too much into it. But this one's for you. Excuse me. This is a fun one because I can see it. Alec, is it easier for you to teach an experienced carver or a beginner carver?
Ooh.
And how much do you help a student carve? Do you go all Patrick Swayze on them and wrap your arms around them and guide their hands?
The phrasing of that question.
This goes back to the movie Ghost for the young ones, where Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore are doing pottery together, and he wraps his hands over her hands and they do pottery. So I can see it.
Yeah. When it's Annalise carving, there's an element of that, but otherwise, not so much. Mostly I'm just I'm trying to keep away from their tools. I'm trying to keep away from their carving as far as carving on it, which is hard because a lot of people really want you to carve on their piece. But no, definitely way easier to teach beginners, for sure. Yeah, beginners don't have any preconceived notions. Yeah, a beginner who's like really excited to learn is always better.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Old habits aren't creeping in. So,
There's like
well, anyway,
no ego. Like that.
that is it, I believe.
Yay.
And we got 21 is done. So again, thanks to everybody for hanging out with us this long. I think this is a long one. I feel like it's a long one, but we appreciate your support, and we always appreciate those who buy us coffee to keep the podcast going. And until next week, have a good week, everybody. And
Take your vitamins.
just say it. Just say it. Yeah, get it out of the way. It's gonna come sooner or later.
Beautiful.